Well, well, well. You thought nobody saw it, huh? They thought your voice would fade, vanish, disappear into the silence? Nah. Someone noticed, someone remembered, someone has the proof. Yeah, the proof, the one that screams your truth louder than their lies. And oh wow, wait for it. They're not just gonna let it sit there. Ignored, buried, forgotten. No, they're gonna make it right for you at all cost. Can you feel it? The weight, the power, the electricity buzzing in the air? Yeah, it's real, it's unstoppable. Every lie, every whisper, every betrayal, exposed, erased, melted away under the fire of undeniable proof. So tell me, are you ready? Ready to watch the world bend, quake, tremble under the truth that refuses to hide? Yeah, this is it. Your moment, your reckoning, your proof-backed victory. And trust me, nobody wants to miss what comes next. The truth doesn't whisper. It claws, it scratches, it bleeds its way out until the world has no choice but to stare at it. You ever notice how the world pretends not to see? How it shuts its eyes, covers its ears, and tells itself stories just to avoid the one thing that burns, the truth. Oh wow, that word alone shakes the room, doesn't it? People spend entire lives running from it, burying it, denying it, because they know once the truth stands tall, their little games collapse. And you carried it. You held on to it even when they laughed, mocked, dismissed, and tried to crush you beneath the weight of their lies. But here's the twist. Proof has arrived, that undeniable, inescapable evidence. And it isn't in your enemy's hands. No, it sits with someone who has chosen to fight for you. Someone who refuses to let your voice rot in silence. Someone ready to make it right for you at all cost. Can you feel that? That's the shift. That's the universe flipping the board. Yeah, the very stage they thought belonged to them now cracks beneath their feet. You're no longer the accused, the outsider, the target. You're the one they can't ignore. And isn't it funny? The same people who once told you to let it go will soon beg to know how you never did. Because here's the thing about proof. It doesn't just clear your name, it destroys theirs. Proof is a mirror, and when it finally rises, it doesn't just reflect your strength, it exposes their weakness. It shows the world who was lying, who was plotting, who was smiling with poison dripping off their tongues. Nah, they didn't expect this. They never believed it would come to this. They thought the truth would die quietly, but the truth is a storm, and storms don't ask for permission. Now imagine this. Someone steps into the fire with you, not to save themselves, not for glory, but because they believe. They believe in what you carried. They believe in your fight. They believe the world has been tilting too long on its side and it's time to straighten it. That's power. Not the kind of power bought, borrowed, or stolen. The kind of power that grows when a lie finally runs out of breath. And let me tell you something. Once the truth is proven, there is no going back. The ones who doubted you can't unsee it. The ones who betrayed you can't undo it. And the ones who stood against you, they'll feel every echo of the collapse they built with their own hands. Proof doesn't argue. Proof doesn't debate. Proof doesn't need permission to exist. Proof just stands there like a blade pressed against the throat of every false word they ever spoke. Oh, but here's the beauty, the raw electricity of this moment. Proof is not quiet justice. It's loud, It's shattering. It doesn't sneak through the back door. It bursts through the front, kicking it off its hinges, announcing that the lie has finally expired. And when that happens, you don't just win, you rise. You rise because your suffering is no longer invisible. Your scars become banners, your silence becomes thunder, and your name becomes a warning. Never doubt the one who refuses to bow. Think about it. All this time they painted you as the fool, the liar, the weak one, and yet here you stand, stronger, unbroken, carrying the very weapon they never thought would surface. Proof. And now, someone with fire in their veins has vowed to wield it for you, at all cost, at all risk, at all consequence. That kind of loyalty, that kind of courage, it rattles the bones of every coward who ever tried to bury you. When proof roars, it doesn't echo, it detonates. You thought the silence was heavy before. Wait until the blast. Proof doesn't walk into a room politely. It kicks through the walls, tears down the curtains, shoves light into the darkest corners. And the moment it roars, every mask begins to crack. Every fake smile, every rehearsed lie, every smug glance, they melt. Oh wow. The look on their faces when the story flips, when the evidence is shoved onto the table and no one can deny it, priceless. Because proof doesn't just defend you, it hunts them. It doesn't just protect your name, it carves into theirs. Proof is merciless. It drags every whispered scheme out into the daylight. It forces cowards to stutter, traitors to tremble, liars to choke on their own words. And suddenly you're not the one being questioned anymore. They are. And isn't that justice? Isn't that the storm finally turning? But listen closely. Proof is not the end of a fight. It's the beginning of war. Yeah, people think once the truth is out, everything calms down. Nah, that's the fantasy. The truth doesn't calm, it ignites. Proof is gasoline on the fire, and once it's spilled, the flames can't be contained. People start pointing fingers. Alliances crack, secrets unravel. The very ground your enemies stood on becomes quicksand. That's the reality they never considered. Once proof roars, there's no silence strong enough to cage it again. And you become untouchable. Because when someone has chosen to carry your fight to make it right at all cost, you are no longer standing alone. They've decided to lock arms with you, to walk into the battlefield and swing the blade of evidence so hard the lies scatter like shattered glass. Proof makes you more than a survivor. It makes you a symbol. Symbols terrify people. They can't kill a symbol. They can't silence it, can't erase it, can't bribe it away. And now, with proof on your side, you represent something far more dangerous than revenge. You represent inevitability, the inevitable collapse of deception, the inevitable rise of reality, the inevitable shift where those who thought they could control the narrative now find the narrative strangling them. Oh, imagine it. The same mouths that spoke against you will start stumbling, mumbling, begging for explanations that won't come. The same eyes that rolled in disbelief will now widen in fear. And the same hands that tried to push you down will suddenly reach for you, not out of love, not out of loyalty, but out of desperation. And you will not need to answer them. Proof will. But here's the part that stings the deepest. Proof doesn't just make things right, it makes things irreversible. Once it's out, no one can go back to pretending. No one can rewrite the script. The world sees what it sees, and the lie is finished. Finished. That's the raw edge of this moment. You don't just win, you erase their ability to fight back. Their voice shrinks, their influence crumbles, their games rot where they stand. And all because one person decided to act, to fight, to hold the line with you until the world had no choice but to know the truth. Think about that for a second. Out of billions, one chose to risk everything for you. Not because they had to, not because it was easy, but because they saw the injustice and they couldn't turn away. That's the kind of courage the world doesn't forget. That's the kind of courage that writes history in scars and victories. And now that courage is aimed directly at your enemies. Wildfire doesn't ask for permission. It devours everything in its path. And that's exactly what happens when proof leaps from one hand to many. What started as a spark between you and that one relentless ally suddenly becomes an inferno spreading across every corner where whispers once hid. Oh wow, can you feel it? The air thickens. The tension multiplies. People who once stood silent start murmuring your name, not with doubt anymore, but with conviction. And then those murmurs swell into voices. Voices turn into shouts. Shouts turn into a storm. Because truth backed by proof isn't fragile. It's contagious. It jumps from mind to mind, heart to heart, until the very society that once ignored you begins to tilt. The balance changes. Suddenly you're no longer carrying your burden alone. An army begins to form. Not an army of weapons, but of witnesses. Witnesses who've seen enough lies to last them a lifetime and are hungry, starving for someone to stand against it. Think carefully about what this means. Proof doesn't just clear your name anymore. It creates momentum. And momentum is terrifying to those who built their castles on deception. Yeah, they thought they could keep the fire contained, but nah. Once it spreads, it's uncontrollable. It licks at their doors. It crawls under their feet. It chokes the air they breathe. And the worst part, they can't stop it, because every attempt to fight it only feeds the flames. Now, here's the irony. The same people who once tried to erase you will scramble to rewrite history. They'll claim they always knew you were right. They'll pretend they always supported you. But the people will remember. The people will remember who laughed, who doubted, who betrayed. Proof burns memory into their minds like scars that never fade. And your enemies? They become walking reminders of failure. Oh, but here's where it turns darker. Proof spreading isn't just about justice. It's about exposure. The light gets brighter and the shadows grow sharper. People begin to look deeper, beyond just your truth, and into the wider network of lies that fueled your suffering. One crack in the wall becomes a collapse. One exposed lie reveals 10 more. And the wildfire doesn't just burn your enemies, it burns the entire system that allowed them to thrive. That's what they fear most. Not your vindication, but the chain reaction it unleashes. Because if one truth can break through, what else might rise? How many more buried stories might claw their way up? And suddenly your fight isn't just your fight anymore. It becomes a symbol of all fights. Proof transforms you into a trigger, a rallying point, a living reminder that lies have an expiration date. But don't mistake this for comfort. Wildfires don't discriminate. They consume everything. And that means the world around you will change permanently. Allies will be tested. Strangers will step forward. And enemies will collapse under the weight of their own secrets. Finished. That's the fate of every empire built on falsehood. It doesn't crumble slowly, it disintegrates all at once, in flames that no one can contain. And you, standing at the center of it all, will face the most dangerous shift of all, responsibility. Because once proof spreads, you can no longer hide. You can't step back. You can't shrink into the shadows. The world will look at you as the one who carried the match, the one who sparked the fire, the one who proved what others feared to admit. That crown is heavy, but it's yours now. Once a fire grows beyond its keeper, it chooses its own path. Oh, can you feel it? That tremor under your feet, the world shifting like it's trembling in awe. Proof has escaped your hands and now moves with a mind of its own. Yeah, that's right. What started as a fight for your name is no longer just about you. It's bigger, wilder, untamed. Every word spoken, every truth revealed, every lie exposed, it all compounds, builds, multiplies. You realize suddenly that the storm you began is now unstoppable, roaring louder than anyone imagined, and there's a strange thrill in that realization. Because here's the brutal truth. When proof grows beyond control, it doesn't just topple the guilty, it shakes the foundations of the indifferent. People who sat quietly on the sidelines are forced to react. Those who smiled while plotting against you now quake under the weight of their own lies. And those who doubted you, they can't unsee it. The world doesn't forget a storm. It remembers the thunder. And here's where it gets intoxicating. The power isn't in the fire itself. It's in the inevitability it creates. When proof spreads like this, every action, every attempt to resist, every whispered lie becomes irrelevant. The momentum doesn't care about fear. The momentum doesn't care about manipulation. The momentum doesn't care about the past. It simply moves forward, relentless, devouring the lies like they were never there to begin with. Oh, wow. The clarity of it hits differently. This is the exact moment when you understand that the fight was never really yours alone. Someone chose to act, to stand, to fight alongside you at all cost, and that choice has transformed into a force that now eclipses even your own strength. Your voice is amplified, your truth undeniable, your presence undeniable, and the world watches, waiting, trembling, knowing that the tide has changed. But here's the kicker. When proof takes on a life of its own, it becomes merciless. It doesn't negotiate, it doesn't bargain, it doesn't wait for courtesy. People scramble, lies crumble, alliances fracture. And you must step carefully. Because when power grows beyond you, it's no longer a game of survival. It's a game of wisdom. How you guide this fire, how you harness it without letting it consume what you value most. That is the ultimate test. Yeah, it's intoxicating, but it's also dangerous. Oh, the same proof that lifts you can expose every weakness, every hesitation, every shadow of doubt. Your enemies will try to manipulate it. Your allies might misunderstand it. And the world will stare, wondering how someone like you became the epicenter of something so unstoppable. And through it all, you realize responsibility is heavier than victory. And yet that's the paradox. Proof has grown beyond you, but its heart remains tied to the truth you've carried all along. That's why this moment, this terrifying, exhilarating, blinding moment is necessary. Because in the chaos, the lies collapse, the guilty falter, and the truth doesn't just survive, it thrives. Finished, nothing can erase it. Nothing can turn it back. Nothing can question its force. And those who once doubted you are forced to confront the reality you've always known, Someone saw the truth, acted for you, and now the world will never forget it. When the storm bends the world, only those anchored to truth remain standing. Yeah, feel that? The chaos is at its peak. The wildfire of proof has consumed the lies, shattered the masks, and rattled the pillars of every false empire built on deception. Oh, wow. It's beautiful in its brutality. The air hums with the tension of inevitability. Every whisper of fear, every glance of doubt, every tremble in their hands, visible, undeniable, irreversible. You didn't just survive. You have become the epicenter of consequence, and the world itself has no choice but to reckon with it. This is the moment where victory and responsibility collide. Proof is no longer a tool, it's a force. It moves, it punishes, it liberates, it exposes, and it will not pause for comfort, patience, or hesitation. Nah. The truth doesn't wait for permission. It doesn't negotiate with cowardice or beg the weak to understand. It simply exists, and it commands everything in its path. And you are its witness and its wielder. That realization alone is enough to send shivers down the spine of everyone who ever doubted you. Here's the undeniable fact. Someone chose to act for you. Someone carried the torch of your truth when the world refused to see it. Someone turned your silence into a weapon and your suffering into proof. And now, every action, every word, every shadow of your journey resonates across the battlefield they built to hold you down. Finished. The walls of deception crumble. The cries of the guilty echo against the very foundations they once thought unbreakable. And there's nothing left for them but to face reality. Harsh, unavoidable, undeniable reality. Oh, but this isn't just about punishment. This is about balance. This is about restoration. This is about setting things right. Not for vengeance, not for ego, but for truth itself. Proof isn't cruel. It's precise. It doesn't linger in bitterness. It doesn't allow hatred to distort its purpose. It acts with clarity, with intent, with a singular focus that forces the world to reconcile with what it always ignored. And here's where the fire becomes eternal. Proof, once acted upon, continues to shape everything it touches. It inspires those who have been silenced. It awakens those who have been ignored. It forces the indecisive to choose sides. And the ones who tried to bury you, they are now the cautionary tale. Their schemes, their lies, their cowardice, they all collapse under the weight of a truth that refuses to die. Yeah, that's power. That's impact. That's the moment when the smallest spark you carried, nurtured and protected, grows into an uncontainable force that transforms everything it touches. And the strange beauty of it is that you didn't even need to fight alone. Someone fought alongside you, ensuring that your truth was not just heard, but felt, seen, and respected. And that alignment, that unwavering commitment, is what makes the difference between survival and dominance. Nah, do not underestimate it. This is more than proof. This is awakening. This is the world bending toward clarity, because someone refused to look away, because someone refused to let your voice be silenced, because someone knew that truth is not a whisper, it's a roar, and it has consequences. And now you stand at the apex, unbroken, untouchable, undeniable. Every eye that once doubted you now watches in awe. Every hand that once pushed you down now trembles with realization. Every mind that once plotted against you now understands the impossible. You were right, and justice real. precise, unstoppable justice has arrived. And now, now you see it, huh? The proof is out, the lies are gone, the world can't ignore you anymore. Oh, wow, feel that? That's power, raw, untouchable, unstoppable. Someone stood with you, someone fought for your truth at all cost, and now nothing can take it back. So stand tall, breathe it in, let it sink. Let it burn. Because your voice, your truth, your proof is louder than anything they ever threw at you. Nah, don't look back. Don't doubt. Don't let them cage your moment. This is yours, your reckoning, your victory, undeniable, unforgettable, unbreakable. Remember this: every eye that doubted, every hand that pushed you down, every whisper that tried to erase you. They've seen it now, and they'll never forget. The world bends, the truth wins, and you rise above it all. Tick-tock, tick-tock. The countdown is ticking fast, right? 3, 2, 1. They are done. Did you hear that? Oh, the tables just flipped, instantly, This is the moment you've been starving for. Admit it. Every second you fought, every drop you gave. Now it's collection time, and guess what? You're about to get paid. But hold up. Don't blink. Don't skip. Don't run. Understand? Because this isn't just a speech, it's war fuel. I built this fire for you, the legends tuning in. Your loyalty, your grind, your comments, your support, it's unmatched. And today, I'm giving tribute to you, the ones who never quit. Every storm has a silence right before it strikes. And in that silence, the world forgets the sound of mercy. Tick-tock. You hear it, don't you? The clock grinding its teeth, spitting seconds into your ear like poison. 3, 2, 1. And just like that, they're done. They don't even realize it yet. That's the delicious part. The look on their faces when the silence breaks, when the hammer falls, when the debt is paid. Oh, they thought time was on their side. But time is the sharpest blade, and it never spares the unprepared. For too long, they measured you with their crooked rulers. They said you were too small, too weak, too late. They whispered doubts like rust in your mind, hoping you'd crumble from the inside out. They wanted you to believe in limits, their limits, because they knew if you ever broke them, their world would collapse. And now, it's happening. The curtain is rising. The air feels heavier, like the moment before a battlefield erupts. Can you feel it? The anticipation that makes your chest burn. The kind that keeps predators pacing in their cage. That's you. That's the monster they tried to chain. You waited. You sharpened your silence. You carried their mockery like weights until it turned your back into steel. And now, when you walk into the room, even without speaking, their nerves betray them. They know something is shifting, something they can't stop. Oh, the irony. They laughed when you were still loading your weapon. They cheered while you were still stacking your ammunition in silence. But now the clip is full, the chamber spins, and your aim is locked. Nah, this isn't luck. This is patience paid in blood and sweat. This is discipline sharpened into inevitability. This is the payoff. Because every insult was an investment. Every failure was a deposit. Every sleepless night was a currency. You never wasted it. You stored it. You stacked it. And now the account is full, overflowing, ready to erupt. They thought they could rob you of worth, but all they did was multiply it. And soon, the collection begins. 3, 2, 1. And let me tell you the part that makes it almost poetic. They'll act surprised. They'll tilt their heads, widen their eyes, stutter out words like how and when and why you. The same mouths that once spat poison will now spit disbelief. But disbelief doesn't stop a flood. And when the tide rises, it swallows them whole. Oh wow, you can almost taste it, can't you? The weight of the reward pressing down like thunderclouds about to burst. It isn't about coins, paper, or digits on a screen. It's about what it represents. Proof, power, victory. Every ounce of it screaming back at them, I survived, I endured, I conquered. And don't think for a second, this was random. No. Every move was designed. Every stumble was fuel. Every no was a path carved toward this yes. And now, as the countdown ends, you don't just get paid, you get crowned by your own persistence. Listen closely. The silence is almost over. The explosion is near. The balance is tipping. And when it falls, there's no rewinding, no undoing, no escaping. This is the moment everything changes. The silence dies when the blast begins. But the real story is written in the smoke that lingers. What happens after the explosion? You stand in the middle of the wreckage. The dust hasn't settled yet. Their voices are cracked. Their faces pale, their pride shattered. That's the aftermath. The detonation wasn't just sound and fury, it was proof. Proof that you weren't bluffing. Proof that every second of waiting was ammunition. And now, as they crawl through the debris of their disbelief, you walk untouched. Oh wow. They thought the blast would burn you too. They thought if they rise, maybe they'll fall just as fast. But nah, you're built different. Fire doesn't consume you, it refines you. The smoke only makes your eyes sharper. The destruction around you doesn't weaken you, it makes your survival undeniable. And that's when it hits them. You weren't chasing survival anymore, you were chasing dominance. Yeah. That's the part that hurts them the most. Because when you collect your payment, whether it's recognition, success, or straight up victory, it doesn't come quietly. It roars. It echoes. It slams through their chests like thunder rolling across steel walls. They can't cover their ears. They can't deny what's in front of them. Every ounce of power they thought belonged to them has shifted into your hands. But here's the twisted beauty of it. The explosion isn't just about you winning, it's about them losing control. For years, they were addicted to the illusion that you were beneath them, stuck in chains, crawling in the mud. And suddenly, in one eruption, that illusion is gone, torn apart, shredded into dust. And you can see it in their trembling. Without that illusion, they have nothing left. So what happens after the explosion? The silence doesn't return. Instead, a new sound emerges. The sound of opportunity. The kind of sound only predators recognize. It's like footsteps echoing through corridors of fear. Yours. Every step you take now shakes the floor they once owned. Every move you make reminds them that you're not rising. You've already risen, and now you're hunting. Oh wow. The reward isn't just material, it's psychological warfare. Every sigh they breathe now carries your name. Every plan they whisper in the dark circles back to you. Every sleepless night they endure is fueled by the memory of how easily you tore down the walls they swore were unbreakable. That's payment too. That's a dividend no currency can buy. And the best part? They know it isn't over. Explosions don't just end. They leave aftershocks. They leave cracks in the ground, fissures in the system, fractures in the minds of those who underestimated you. And those aftershocks? They keep coming. You don't even have to force them. They ripple on their own, long after the countdown ended. Oh wow, you can see it now, the chain reaction. Every barrier falling, every wall splitting, every locked door breaking open. That's the legacy of the explosion. That's why getting paid isn't a moment, it's a season. A season where the tables aren't just turned, they're flipped, shattered and rebuilt in your favor. And just when they think they can recover, just when they start to patch up the wounds, you strike again. Not with noise this time. With precision. With silence sharper than any scream. Because after the explosion, the real war begins. And that war is about control. Power is loud when it explodes, but true control is quiet. And silence is far more terrifying than sound. So what happens when control itself becomes your weapon? Simple. The battlefield bends to you. You don't have to shout. You don't have to swing wild. You move a single piece, and the entire board shifts in your favor. That's the secret they never wanted you to discover. That control isn't about force. It's about precision. It's about the way you make your opponents dance without them realizing the strings are in your hands. Oh wow. They thought the explosion was the end game. They thought that was your peak. But nah, the blast was just your introduction. The real devastation comes when they realize you now decide the rhythm of the fight. You decide who moves, when they move, and how far they fall. And the best part, you don't even need chaos anymore. You can make silence scream louder than destruction ever did. Yeah, silence. That's your blade now. You walk into a room and the air changes. They second guess every word, every glance, every twitch of their fingers, because they don't know how you'll respond. Their minds twist against them. Their nerves betray them. And you stay calm, collected, patient, because you already know the outcome before they make their first move. That's control. Control is when their strength becomes irrelevant. They might have numbers, they might have noise, they might have influence, but every bit of it is useless, because you've already stripped away the foundation underneath. They're building castles on sand, and you're the tide waiting to rise. You don't fight their walls anymore. You let their own weight collapse them. And here's the sharp edge. Once control becomes your weapon, getting paid isn't just about the prize, it's about the process. Every second of hesitation you force into them is interest added to your reward. Every sleepless night they suffer adds more to your collection. Payment isn't one moment, it's constant. Flowing, endless. You don't just win once. You win again and again, because control makes every outcome tilt your way. Oh wow. The beauty of control is that it leaves them powerless without you even touching them. You make them question their own strategies. You make them doubt their own voices. You make them turn on each other while you sit back watching, calculating, ready to strike only when it benefits you most. And when you finally strike, it isn't with desperation, it's with precision, so clean it leaves no room for recovery. That's why they fear you now. Not because you're loud, not because you're reckless, but because you've proven you can hold the entire board in your hands without breaking a sweat. That's more terrifying than any explosion. Explosions fade, but control lingers. It digs into their skin, it gnaws at their minds, it forces them to live with the knowledge that their fate isn't theirs anymore. It's yours. Yeah, that's the ultimate payout. More than gold, more than glory, more than applause, it's ownership. Ownership of the field, ownership of the silence, ownership of the future. And they can't steal it, can't beg for it, can't fake it. You earned it, you bled for it, you sharpened yourself until nothing could bend you. But the story isn't finished. Because once you hold control, you face a new decision, one sharper than all the rest. The heaviest crown isn't the one made of gold, it's the one made of choices. So what do you do with power that no one can take away? That's the real test, because power isn't just about possession, it's about direction. You can crush with it, or you can carve with it. You can waste it on ego, or you can weaponize it into legacy. And here's the twisted truth. Power unused is power lost. Oh wow. Most people crumble when they finally hold it. They've chased it so long they never planned for the moment they'd actually get it. They get drunk on their own reflection, stumble into arrogance, and waste the opportunity to shape the battlefield forever. But nah, that's not you. You didn't bleed through fire just to collapse at the finish line. You're sharper than that. Yeah, you understand the principle. Power is leverage, not decoration. It's not something you flaunt. It's something you apply. Quietly, ruthlessly, strategically. Every ounce of control you hold must be turned into movement, into forward push, into victories that echo far beyond the first explosion. That's how you get truly paid. Not once, but endlessly. Because let's be clear, being paid isn't only about filling your hands. It's about filling the future. It's about turning this moment into momentum, this reward into resources, this dominance into something untouchable. You don't just want the payout. You want the system that guarantees it keeps flowing. And with the weapon of control in your grip, you can build that system piece by piece. Oh wow. Think about it. Every enemy you silence, every obstacle you bend, every barrier you erase, it isn't just survival, it's construction. You're building a structure in the ruins they left you in. You're stacking stone on stone until the empire of their disbelief becomes the foundation of your reign. And every time they see it rise higher, the echo in their minds reminds them they were wrong about you. And here's the sting. They'll try to distract you, bait you, pull you back into the noise. They'll whisper, they'll provoke, they'll fake weakness to lure you into wasting your strength, but you won't fall for it. You've already seen their tricks. You've already walked through the fire. You've already mastered silence, and now you won't trade your crown for crumbs. Because power without patience is chaos. But power with patience, that's destiny carved in iron. And you carry it now, steady, precise, unshakable. You're about to get paid, and not just in what lands in your hands, but in what lasts long after your hands are gone. But here's the shadow on the horizon. Once you've built, once you've risen, once you've mastered control, there's still one more enemy left. The sharpest blade you'll ever face is the one hidden inside your own shadow. The enemy outside is predictable. They scheme, they whisper, They plot. You can read their moves, break their patterns, shatter their walls. But the enemy within? That one is slippery. It doesn't come knocking with banners or threats. It hides in hesitation. It hides in greed. It hides in comfort. And if you let it live too long, it rots everything you've built from the inside out. Oh wow, think about it. You've already proven you can beat them. You survived the countdown. You owned the explosion. You mastered control. But nah, the inside enemy is different. It doesn't attack with noise. It attacks with silence. It whispers, rest now, stop now, you've done enough. That voice isn't weak, it's dangerous, because the second you believe it, you start to sink. Yeah, and that's the battle nobody else sees. They cheer for the outside victories. They gasp at the explosions, the paydays, the dominance. But only you know the war inside. The war against laziness. The war against pride. The war against fear of your own greatness. That's the battle that decides whether your power lasts or dies. The truth is brutal. No outside enemy can defeat you unless the inside enemy opens the door. That's how kingdoms fall. Not from the walls collapsing, but from the rot inside the core. That's why the payoff isn't just about what you take, it's about what you protect. You protect your discipline. You protect your hunger. You protect your focus, like a vault, because if you let that enemy slip through, everything else becomes dust. Oh wow. You see it clearly now. The same silence that sharpened you before must sharpen you again. The same patience that built your rise must guard your throne. You don't get paid once and retire into weakness. You keep stacking. You keep moving. You keep fighting the shadow that wants to drag you back into chains. Because here's the cruel irony. When the outside enemies fall, the inside one grows louder. It tells you the war is over. It tells you there's no more mountain to climb. And if you listen, that's the trap. That's the snare. That's how victories turn into defeats without a single blow being struck. But nah, not you. You already know better. You already feel the weight of the crown made of choices. You already know that the real payday is not just surviving the enemy outside, it's conquering the one within. And when you do that, there's no weakness left to exploit, no crack left to widen, no leash left to pull. And there it is, the silence after the storm. Oh wow, did you feel it? The countdown hit 0, and now they're finished. Yeah, they tried to break you, bury you, starve you out, but nah, you survived, you endured, and now you collect what's yours. This moment, it's not luck, it's proof. Proof that patience pays, proof that fire wins, proof that legends never stay down. But remember, this isn't the end, it's the ignition. Because the countdown doesn't stop here. It resets for the next battle, the next level, the next payday. And every time you show up, every time you comment, every time you drop that super thanks, you're not just watching, you're part of this rebellion. You're the proof that this movement is alive. So salute to you. The ones who stood tall, the ones who refused to quit, the ones who walk with me through every storm. You're the backbone. You're the fire. You're the reason this voice gets louder every single day.